Every now and then in life, you arrive somewhere new. Somewhere that somehow feels like home. Through an inexplicable tug on your soul. A place that finds you and not the other way around.
Good morning. I thought I'd take a moment just to chat with you guys. It's an early Saturday morning here in Mystic, and it's a wonderful, magical time to wake up. It's as if you have the whole town of Mystic to yourself. The fog rolling off the water, the birds and seagulls, and even the ravens and crows are singing early in the morning. You see the boats drifting out there, the historic boats, and a few brave kayakers heading out in this fog. I don't know if I would do the same thing with the big boat coming by, but hey, why not? Why not? They're taking advantage of the peacefulness like I am here. Let's take the view in just a little bit longer. Let's go grab a cup of coffee, maybe a little pastry to eat.
Suddenly, the world I used to know, I see it differently. You woke me from a dream, now here's reality. Baby, baby, you are really hurting me. 'Cause every time you tell me I look good and that I'm doing fine, but nothing ever changes. And now I see, baby, you are hurting me. Stuck in repeat, stop lying. I know you playing your part, but baby, it's breaking my heart. How could I know? If you don't need me, just let me know.
So as I'm walking across the famous Mystic drawbridge, the fog is lifted, the tourists are coming out of their hotels and their Airbnbs, and of course the residents, and it is a beautiful morning. The sun is out, and right across from the Mystic Drawbridge Ice Cream Parlor that Taylor Swift made famous when she had an ice cream out there. It was famous already, but she really put it on the map.
In Mystic, they really love their ice cream. I mean, there are ice cream shops literally everywhere. But the line was a little bit too long that morning. It was a Saturday and all the tourists were in town, but I promise you, we'll come back for an ice cream later on in the video. So I headed over to Sift in Mystic for that coffee and pastry. Only the most famous bake shop in all of New England, if not the entire country. I'll admit, I was a little skeptical about all the hype it's received. But when I got there, the lines were out the door there too. So we'll have to come back later for that. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. So stick around and we'll check it out together later in the video.
As I'm sitting here, I found this spot along the Mystic River. I was a little surprised that Mystic, being such a well-to-do, sophisticated, well-heeled type of town, that they didn't have a cigar lounge. So they did have a cigar shop, and that's where I got these. So I thought to myself, what better place to enjoy a cigar, even better than sitting in a cigar lounge, taking in the boats along the Mystic River here. And let's talk about Mystic's restaurants. Mystic, being a small coastal town in Connecticut, definitely punches above its weight in the culinary world. There are numerous chefs who have won the James Beard Award or been semi-finalists, like finalist David Stanbridge, who owns the Shipwright's Daughter, and chef Rene Toupons, who's the owner of the Oyster Club and the Port of Call. And as I'm sure you know, the James Beard is considered the Oscar of the culinary world. I think there are no Michelin stars here, Michelin star restaurants, but that's only because Michelin concentrates on the big cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. But if they came here, I guarantee almost every restaurant would be a Michelin star. And you know me, in this video, we're going to try to eat at as many of them as we can. We'll see what the budget allows.
I was fortunate enough to stay in Mystic with my good friends and fellow film producers, Michael and Wendy. They own the Crow's Nest at the Blue Anchor, just a few blocks from the center of town, and an easy and charming walk no matter the season. It's a cozy spot they have with woods in the back, and it's available for rent on Airbnb. And trust me, it's got that authentic New England feel that just adds to the magic of Mystic. But if you're someone who leans more toward the hotel experience, smack dab in the heart of town, I'd recommend the Whalers Inn. It's quaint, almost bed and breakfast-like, and the moment you step into the lobby, you're greeted by a warm collection of nautical memorabilia that tells its own story of this seafaring village. Plus, it's close to all the best bars and restaurants Mystic has to offer, including the Shipwright's Daughter, which I mentioned earlier in the video.
Well, as often is the case in Mystic, rain can start at a moment's notice, so let's pop into a pub and have ourselves a pint.
One of the things I always seek out when visiting a new town, especially a charming seafaring village like Mystic, is its local Irish pub. There's something timeless and comforting about stepping into one. I know I'll be greeted by the warm hum of laughter, clinking glasses, and a jovial, good-spirited crowd that makes you feel like you've been part of the place all along.
So coming in from the rain, I had the shock of my life. I walked into Michael McLaren's, one of his local pubs here, and to my great surprise and delight, I had Julia Roberts serving me. Has anybody ever told you you look like Julia Roberts?
All the time.
You do.
But she wasn't the only A-lister in the bar that day. After a few pints, I stepped away to use the facilities, and Michael seized the opportunity to prank me. Upon my return to the bar, 3 of the finest, most polite, and kindest submariners you would ever want to meet played along, pretending to recognize me as a famous actor and YouTuber. They even asked me for my autograph. It was absolutely hilarious. Oscar-worthy stuff, honestly. Michael and I were having so much fun, and we could have hung out with them all day. But with the sun coming out, it was time to get ready for dinner.
I was just a kid when I met you, honey. Working on my daydreams. Down bed wishing you'd come and save me. If only I had a time machine.
So just behind me here is the Mariner Restaurant. When you come to New England and you think of clam chowder, that's what you really want to try. And if you want the best clam chowder in town, you got to come to the Mariner. I think the only thing better are the staff, the people. You'll meet Dee, the general manager, who will make you feel like you're at home, like he's known you all your life. And he's a wealth of knowledge. That guy can tell you everything about all the little backstories here in Mystic. Wonderful, wonderful character. I think he's from California. I think he's from San Francisco, where I'm from. But like I said, you won't find a better clam chowder than here at the Mariner. And I also ate the lobster roll, which was very, very good. I think the lobster roll is a little overrated, but mwah, the clam chowder, the best.
We were always living for the weekend, painting pictures, you and me. Late night drives, music loud, ours were speaking. Close my eyes and I was dreaming. Hold tight and know that we're changing, but I will be forever young in your arms. Tell the story about you and me. About what loves you, gon' love you like some.
Are we starting with chowders?
Yeah,
Cups or bowls?
We're gonna do a bowl. We're gonna share this.
Okay.
I'll do a
you want me
cup.
to just split it into two cups?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
yeah, I'll do a cup of chowder.
Okay.
And then the lobster roll? Yeah.
Lobster roll, fried scallop. Okay. No allergies I have to be aware of?
None.
Okay.
Alcohol today.
Yeah. There you go.
We'll work on that. Fresh cracked pepper?
Look how thick that is. Beautiful. Now that is some damn good clam chowder.
Hold tight inside, we're changing, but I will be forever young in your arms.
So one of the good things about knowing the locals, like my good friend, executive producer Michael McLaren, who has a lovely home with his wife Wendy here in Mystic, is they know all the management and all the best restaurants. So when you walk in, the food's like that, including this amazing lobster roll. It should be illegal to have a sandwich this good.
Looks like we're 15.
So Michael was not lying. That clam chowder at the Mariner is the best I've ever had. And the lobster roll is decadent, to say the least. But, now we're feeling a little thirsty. And we thought, why not? Let's go grab a beer at Red 36. Probably one of the best places with a scenic view of the Mystic River. Thank you, sir. Red 36 is Mystic's ultimate dockside hangout. Laid back and stylish with unbeatable views of the marina. This place has serious coastal vibes. Think cocktails at sunset, fresh oysters, and a lively crowd of boaters and locals alike. Whether you're here for a lobster roll or just soaking in the breeze on the massive wraparound deck, Red 36 captures that perfect New England summer energy. So, leaving the Mariner, we were a bit parched, and Michael and Wendy suggested we come to Red 36. If you're ever in Red 36, you have to try the Pink Cadillac. And of course, an IPA is nice too.
And a rum and coke.
And a rum and coke, also. After Red 36, Michael, Wendy, and I headed over to the Milestone, a wonderful restaurant and bar in Mystic, where we had a pre-production meeting on Crawlspace to meet with some local actors, and where I was introduced to their dear friends who also live in Mystic, Michael and Christina, and Michael will be playing a detective in Crawlspace. We were then off to Rene Touponce's Oyster Club to sample some of the best oysters Mystic has to offer. And believe me, It did not disappoint. After dinner, we sadly said our goodbyes to Michael and Christina, and then headed next door to the port of call for cocktails, where Michael and Wendy introduced me to even more of their lovely Mystic friends. The Port of Call is a refined yet inviting bar and cocktail lounge, housed in a historic building with exposed brick, nautical accents, and vintage maritime maps. The space exudes a worldly elegance, like the drawing room of a well-traveled captain. I'm here in Mystic, Connecticut, at the Port of Call, home of the real McCoy. Salud, everyone! Yay! And if any of you are wondering, what's the real McCoy? Stick around, it's a very interesting story that has a Mystic connection. I'll explain it later in the video. The following morning was Mother's Day, a day that always carries a bittersweet weight for me. For it was on this very day that I lost my beloved mother, Ophelia, 6 years ago. Fortunately, the mist cleared and the sun rose early, casting a warm and inviting glow over the town of Mystic, as if the town itself knew the quiet ache in my heart. I seized the opportunity to set out alone, letting my footsteps guide me through Mystic's quiet morning hush. I wandered past elegant architecture and along hidden back streets, where the charm of weathered facades and winding roads whispered stories of another time. There was beauty in every turn, and in that stillness I felt both grounded and adrift. Eventually, I was drawn to the water's edge. There, along the gentle banks of Mystic, I found a quiet spot to sit with my memories. I thought of her, how deeply I missed her, how fiercely she loved, and how much she would have cherished a place like this.
She passed away on Mother's Day, so it's kind of a bittersweet day for me. But I was with her till the very end, holding her hand as she took her last breath. I miss her. I miss her terribly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get emotional, but this is a hard day for me. She would have loved this place. I would have loved to have brought her to Mystic. I got a little emotional there because it's a bittersweet day for me. I lost my mother on Mother's Day, and it was always a day that we celebrated together, coming out to beautiful places like here in Mystic. I can hear the church bells behind me. There is a flower sale at the Mystic Church today. So I believe it runs 3 till 6. And all the steps will be filled with flowers. We should head over there and take a look, maybe pick up a thing or two. You know me, I love my plants. It would be wonderful to take a plant or bring some flowers back home to Baltimore. A little memento, a little memory of Mystic. So I felt like a lot of videos I saw on Mystic, they just stayed on the main street and they didn't wander off the beaten path. And you're really missing the real bones of Mystic if you just go on a little adventure, go down a side street. Right behind me here is the Daniel Packard Inn, or as the locals like to call it, the DPI. This was the place Michael took me, Michael and Wendy, on my very first evening here in Mystic. And it felt like I was walking back in time into a old pub in Cornwall, England, or somewhere in the 1600s. And if you come on a Wednesday and Friday, you'll be greeted by one of the most wonderful bartenders, Mark. As you can see here, when we came in, Michael didn't have to say a word. He just walked in and Mark handed him his favorite beer. And that's a wonderful thing. You feel like you're part of the community. So it's beautiful. Let me take you inside.
So here I am at the famous Mystic Pizza, where Julia Roberts cut her teeth on her first movie debut. Well, actually, that wasn't her first movie. It was Firehouse the year before in 1987. They're supposed to be famous for their pizza. It's okay, the pizza, but you come here for the movie nostalgia and just to experience the place. It's very good for that.
But if you're a pizza lover like me, don't worry, I've got you covered. Later in the video, I'll take you to what just might be the best pizza joint in all of Mystic. And honestly, maybe the best slice I've ever had. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
So after having that rather average slice of pizza over at Mystic Pizza, not the best, I got a little thirsty, a little parched, and I am at the Bank and Bridge Brewing Company right here in Mystic. They put a brew pub inside of an old bank, and they have the brewing tanks in there, as you can see here. They make some delicious beers. I'm an IPA guy, so I got this very, not too hoppy, very juicy, citrusy IPA, which is right up my alley. Perfect on a beautiful Mother's Day here in Mystic, Connecticut. Oh yeah, it's good. It's good.
So right behind me is the Mystic Bridge, the drawbridge, the toll bridge. It was built in 1922, and it is called a bascule, which is French for seesaw. And as you can see above me here, I'm hoping one of these stones do not come loose. They are 230 tons of piece, 230 tons of concrete, which is the scale that brings the bridge up and then brings it down. And the bridge will rise up on the hour, every hour on the hour. Whether there's a boat coming through or not, it rises up. And it does cause a little bit of traffic jam here in Mystic, but this is a town where you want to go slow and take in the sights anyway, so I'm sure people don't mind. All right, that's the bell telling us it's all clear. We just have to wait for our light to go off and the post to go up. Here we go. And we can cross on over to Groton.
You might be wondering, how do I come up to Mystic? You could drive like me through a hurricane. That was a harrowing drive, about 5.5 hours. And you get to go through New York and things like that. But what better way to come to Mystic than on a train, nice and relaxed, bring a book and read. It's also about 5.5 hours. And you get to arrive at this historic Mystic Depot. Looks like something out of the 1800s. Come on. I'm just checking my train schedule here to see when the next train leaves for New York City. I ordered a sandwich and a coffee. What better way to wait for a train than having a nice sandwich with some crisps and a nice coffee in this historic Mystic Depot train station. When you come to Mystic and you want to learn much more about the town, you have to pay a visit to the Chamber of Commerce. And be sure to walk in and say hi to Bruce. This little postal truck is one of the things that they use to promote the town at different events here in Mystic. And it's really cute. It has a whole map of Mystic on it.
But let me let Bruce tell you more about it. So this is Bruce, the head of the Chamber of Commerce here in Mystic. And I thought to myself, what better person to explain to the viewers everything about the Chamber of Commerce here. So, Bruce, I see this beautiful little truck here. Can you tell me a little something about this?
Yeah, thanks, David, for asking. This is our traveling visitor center. We used COVID money from the towns. In 2020, we had this idea for having something that we can have downtown that has a little bit of character that will attract people and will tell Mystic's story. So this will be parked in Mystic all summer long and throughout the year. And we'll be here to be able to help visitors come and navigate what the greatest places to see, the places to eat, places to walk, bike, kayak. And that's what Chamber's all about. It's all about community and business and making sure that people come here feel welcome.
I love it. Love it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So, Bruce, where can people find the Chamber of Commerce here in Mystic?
So we have our offices at 14 Holmes Street, and this truck will be right here on Holmes in the corner of Holmes and Route 1. And what we're trying to tell you in Mystic here, we have Misquamicut, Westerly, Stonington, Watch Hill, gorgeous places, Niantic, New London, a lot of history that you come to Mystic and don't spend 2 days, spend a week, use Mystic as your home base, and see all of Southeastern Connecticut and beyond.
I absolutely love Bruce's suggestion to use Mystic as a home base for exploring the stunning charm of southeastern Connecticut. From there, it's an easy ride to places like Watch Hill with its dramatic windswept coastline and Gilded Age hotels. We stopped by the Ocean House for a cocktail or two and soaked in the timeless elegance and natural beauty that surrounds you. Sipping a cocktail at Ocean House in Watch Hill is like stepping into a postcard from the Gilded Age. Perched high above the Atlantic, this grand butter yellow hotel exudes timeless elegance with sweeping verandas, white glove service, and a view that stretches endlessly across the sea.
So as I walk along this rugged coastline here in Rhode Island, New England, I can't help but think what it must have been like to live during the opulence of the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, the Ashtons, where I say this now that I'm retired, every day is a weekend, every day was a weekend for them. Unbelievable. You have these cabanas along the beach here. And for all you Swifties out there, I have something very special for you, because right in front of me is Taylor Swift's house. Looks like she's doing some new construction. I can see up there some scaffolding. I don't know if she's home right now. Let's hope I don't get in trouble for taking the drone up and showing you guys the residence. I wanted to say mansion, but I didn't want to be vulgar. The Taylor Swift residence.
Luckily, I managed to get a quick drone shot of her home there on top of the bluff along the New England coastline.
So that's Taylor Swift's house. You can see, like I said, she's doing a little work there. Looks like in the west wing of her residence, the blue siding or the blue area. And she's right here in this beautiful, beautiful town, right along the coastline with beaches. And this is probably as close as I'm going to get to Taylor Swift's house. This is the entrance.
Swiftie! After accused of being a Swiftie, what else could I do? I headed back to Mystic, the tourists were gone, went to Taylor Swift's favorite ice cream shop, and ordered that ice cream I promised you.
I'm having this great ice cream. I think it's called the Drawbridge Junk Bomb. I don't know what it is, but it has everything in it. Pretzels and chocolate and caramel, peanuts. It's delicious. It's delicious. So one thing you have to do when you're in Mystic is just wander down a side street and take in all the beautiful architecture here. The colonial, the antebellum style homes. It has some Savannah influence to it. Maybe some New Orleans influence to it. Or Nolans if you're from Nolans. The wrought iron fences, the columns, the clapboard siding, I think that's what it's called. Just absolutely stunning. And one street is more spectacular than the next. It's like, oh my God, it couldn't get any better, and it does. So yeah, take your time, take a look at the homes, how beautiful they are. And I tell you what, I never want to go back. I want to move to Mystic. And I love all the Portuguese fisherman style cottages here. Look at this one, built in 1839. There's even more historical looking examples, but I could see myself living in a little cottage like that. And they're all over Mystic. Of course you do have your grandiose waterfront mansions, but the majority are these little smaller clapboard fisherman style cottages. Just lovely, just lovely. And then you find all these little wharfs like Schooner's Wharf, a lot like Fells Point with Bond Street Wharf. And you walk down the street here, and you know, what would a small town be without a proper barber shop? And you have that here, even with the blue, white, and red barbershop lantern. Very quaint. And different little collectibles and fine art shops. Even a law office here. Isn't that neat? Well, I don't know how neat that is, but mystical, nautical, marine consignment. I bet you would find some cool anchors in there. You have a juicery here, Karma Kitchen. Haven't tried that yet, but might be on the list.
And if I can never get into Sift, this little bake shop looks nice. This is definitely on the list. As is this Mystic Oyster Spot. I'm feeling a Mystic video part 2. Let me know in the comments if you'd like that.
So it's a little loud on the street here, but another great place that I highly recommend when you come into Mystic, Connecticut, especially if you love Italian meatballs, is to cuddle up with the locals here at the bar and order yourself some Sicilian meatballs with the fresh mozzarella, the tomato sauce to die for. I sat at the bar here with Michael, and he recommended the place, of course. And we just started talking with a few of the locals. The woman had ordered the plate of meatballs, and I was like, wow, those really look good. And she goes, give me a plate. And she gave me one of her meatballs. They were like this size. And I was like, no, just a bite. But that's how nice people are here in Mystic. They want to share with you. There's just a real sense of community here. And they love meeting up new people like myself, from somewhere else, from Maryland. I was just in the ice cream shop, and the lady was like, are you from LA? And I said, no, I'm from Maryland. She goes, oh, okay, you look familiar to me. I don't know, maybe she knows me from the YouTube channel or something like that. But yeah, it's great. This place, Bravo, I highly recommend it. Bravo is the appropriate name for this place.
Now, if you want the best burgers in town, you have to go to the Engine Room. Where everything they serve is farm to table. The bacon cheeseburger is juicy, smoky, stacked with crispy bacon, melted cheese on a perfectly toasted bun. Pair it with their made-from-scratch Bloody Mary, bold, spicy, and fully customizable for the ultimate brunch or the midday indulgence like we did. And don't think I forgot about the engine itself, its ties to Mystic, and the story of the real McCoy.
So even though I was here yesterday having the best burger in Mystic, the Engine Room here, I wanted to come back just to give you a little bit more of a history of this hidden gem. So it's called the engine room because back in the 1920s, when Prohibition was taking place, there was a guy, his name was McCoy, and you get the name the real McCoy. He would run rum up from the Bahamas, up the East Coast to places like Miami and Savannah, New York. Eventually, he even got up to the coast of Greenland. And the Coast Guard could not catch him because he had these, I don't know if they were schooners or skipjacks, but they were very fast. And at that time, the Coast Guard, they had no budget. They didn't have the means to enforce this new law of prohibition. And so he was always outrunning them. And he got a little smart after his very first delivery. Anywhere within 3 miles of the coastline, you were in U.S. waters. So what he would do is take his fast, speedboats up with the rum and park them or anchor them just outside the 3 mile line in international waters. And then guys would come in boats and he would unload the liquor, they would pay him, and they would go back and take it to, wherever, New York and Florida and all those different places. And they love the real McCoy because he never cut his liquor. So they always knew he was gonna charge them a fair price, and that it would be 100% pure rum, not cut. That's why he got the famous name, the real McCoy. And there is actually a rum today that's still made. It's the real McCoy from the Bahamas. The guy who made the documentary about the real McCoy, you need to watch it. I think his name is Bailey. I believe that's his name. Excellent, excellent documentary. If you want to learn a little something about rum running and during Prohibition. It was interesting to me because my grandfather actually did run rumming and whiskey and bourbon and all that from Cuba, but he would take it up through New Orleans. And it's kind of how he paid his passage when he came over from Spain, escaping, the fascist Franco. He thought he was coming to New York, but he wound up in Cuba, made his passage back by running rum and bootlegging, and then eventually was able to buy his passage over to Guatemala, and that's how my family on one side wound up in Guatemala. The other side's from Italy, and that's a whole other story. But anyway, I don't want to bore you too much, but I wanted to give you a little piece of history. So it's called the engine room, like I said. That engine, they put it into the Coast Guard ships, and they were finally able to capture the real McCoy because they were faster than he was, and they were able to keep up and grab him. So it's an interesting documentary. I highly recommend it. But when you're here in Mystic, definitely come here to the engine room for the best hamburgers. So finally, I'm outside Sift. It's a Wednesday morning here. The tourists have left town for the weekend, and we're finally going to get a chance to partake and try some of the great pastries here and coffees at Sift. Come on, let's head in.
So there's a reason why it's tough to get in. Sift Bake Shop in Mystic, Connecticut is a coastal favorite opened by award-winning pastry chef Adam Young. Known for his win on Best Baker in America, Adam fills the shop with buttery croissants, colorful macaroons, and stunning cakes that make this spot a must-visit in New England. And believe me, everybody knows about it, so that's why the lines were just out the door all weekend.
So I finally made it to Sift. Oh my God, you saw the whole weekend. Tourists lined up all the way down the block here. Again, I was able to get in. There was still a line inside, and there's been a few times when the line grew a little bit. But look at what we're having here. I love guava, and the guava and cheese Danish just looked absolutely amazing. So I picked one of those up. And then macaroons, or macarons, or macaroons, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I love them as well. We have a passion fruit macaroon. We have a pistachio macaroon. And then the pink one is a rose water macaroon. Very interesting flavors. And the blue one is a sea salt caramel macaroon. So, yeah, let's dig in. Oh my God. This is absolutely amazing. This guava cheese Danish. There's so much to choose from in there. You know, you kind of go with what you like. Amazing. So light, so airy. See, what if we catch that all the different layers of the Danish croissant like. I think she said this one was a blueberry sea salt macaroon. Let's see. Very, very good. Yeah, you wouldn't think sea salt and blueberry go together, but they do. Here's the rose water macaroon. Let's give this one a try. Not what I was expecting, but I like it. I like it. Very good. Try this one. And this is the pistachio. Let's see what this tastes like. You definitely know it's pistachio. Also sweet. I gotta get back in detox as soon as this trip's done.
Never cared much for winter. Ice and snow leaves me totally cold. But something's up each year in December. I love it like a miner loves gold.
I stumbled across this fabulous place. It's the Old Mystic Village. Have you ever seen the Hallmark movies? Well, this is where they film it. And I promised you when I was at Mystic Pizza that I was going to bring you for the best slice of pizza here in Mystic. And we're about to head in. I always keep my promises. Come on.
Just listen to that kitten, the way she purrs. There's something in the air this time of the year. She's crazy about Christmas, and I'm crazy about her. All the deeds that I do to please her, ain't a thing that I wouldn't do. I give my babe whatever she wants. I catch a reindeer if she wants me to.
Perfect.
My baby's got a thing for Santa. She blushes and she giggles whenever he's near. I grow myself a beard in time for Christmas. I keep it throughout the year.
So we're at Mango's, as seen in the Mystic Christmas movies. I was recommended this place by my friend, Michael McLaren. And he hasn't done me wrong so far with any of the restaurants. So look at this fired brick oven pie. This is called the bootlegger with pepperoni, sausage. Just a meat lover's delight, right? And I can already tell it's going to be the best pizza here in Mystic.
Let's give it a shot. Oh. So a lot of people say that pizza is subjective. I'm Italian, so there's good pizza and then there's lousy pizza. This pizza is great pizza. I promise you. You can't go wrong with this. Look at the charred crust. Let's get a bite of that crust in the corner. Wow. Molto bene. Molto bene. That's the best pizza here in Mystic.
Please make my wish come true.
After stuffing ourselves in mangoes, we made our way back to the crow's nest at the Blue Anchor for a few hours of much-needed rest. Later that evening, Michael and Wendy whisked me off to the Delamar Hotel for dinner. The Delamar Hotel is situated along the Mystic River. The hotel's design draws inspiration from the town's rich seafaring history, creating an atmosphere that I found both elegant and evocative. Just off the lobby area is the restaurant and bar, with an elegant dining room and a long marble bar, which I always appreciate. And with an assortment of New England oysters in front of me, I sat down at the bar and ordered my usual, a Johnny Walker Black on the rocks, to relax a little bit before dinner and to take in the lovely views of the Mystic River just off to my left. The river, like a siren song, called out to me, soft and irresistible. I surrendered to her pull, letting her draw me to her banks, where I could steal a quiet moment of peace and solitude, sipping on my whiskey slowly as the day began to fade before dinner. Feeling totally relaxed, I headed back inside for dinner, where we ran into even more of Michael and Wendy's Mystic friends, and where I had the honor and genuine pleasure of meeting award-winning Broadway actress Linda Hart. Some of you might know her from Cole Porter's Anything Goes, and for us Baltimore devotees, she originated the role of Velma Von Tussle in Hairspray, a standout moment in an already remarkable Broadway career. I came to Mystic to make a movie, Crawlspace, a project Michael and I eventually got around to filming, but not before I fell completely and hopelessly in love with this town. What began as a film shoot turned into something much deeper. I got to live Mystic like a local thanks to Wendy and Michael. Dining at the best restaurants, sipping on cocktails in grand hotel lounges, with spectacular views of New England's rugged coastline, and sharing laughter and genuine stories over cocktails and pints at places like the DPI and the Port of Call. Every street, every view, every bite felt like part of something timeless. But what truly swept me off my feet were the people. The locals who welcomed me not as a guest, but as a friend. People with big hearts, quick laughs, and stories that stay with you long after the day ends. Thankfully, our story isn't finished here. There's still more of the film to be captured beneath Mystic's golden light. So, like a promise carried on a salted breeze, I shall return. And I'm glad, because Mystic has etched herself into the quiet corners of my soul. And I know now, I'm not meant to be away from her for long.